Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumpert from MSDynamicsWorld.com. Thanks for joining us. I am joined today by Giuseppe Ianni of Ecommerce for a session all about B2B e-commerce for Dynamics ERP. As we get started, please do know that you can add your questions at any point. Please look for the Q&A that you should see to the right of the main presentation window. We'll also have a couple of poll questions coming up at different times during today's event. You'll see those pop up as we get to them, so please do be on the lookout for those as well. And without further delay, I am now going to hand things off to Giuseppe to move things forward. So Giuseppe, welcome.
Thanks, Jason, and thanks everybody for joining us today as we talk a little bit more, and I hope to educate everybody as to some of the current market trends as businesses today look to reach the new professional buyer online. I'll be walking us through the overview today, and just so we're all familiar with one another, my name is Giuseppe Ianni with Ecommerce. I've been in the channel about 13 years, helping businesses across the Microsoft Dynamics suite implement solutions that will allow their organizations to scale, grow, and provide a better, richer customer service experience online to their customers. Now, as we talk about the trends in the industry today, I think it's important to understand where things are coming from initially, which is what we're going to start with, just talking about how the world is changing, how customers are changing in a digital world. We see a lot of information coming out today about that digital transformation, which we'll dive into a little bit more to start our presentation. We'll then get into some of the key trends in both the retail and the wholesale industries and how those trends are really shaping what organizations are doing today and what customers are expecting. And then last but not least, we'll talk a little bit more about why businesses are looking for a single stack solution when it comes to e-commerce. Many businesses today in the market have a first generation e-commerce system they've implemented that doesn't really integrate or work or communicate with their ERP without custom development. So we'll talk about what single stack is and how it's impactful and important and really critical for your business in the marketplace today. So as we start, I think as we take a look at socials, we take a look at a lot of the reports coming out in the marketplace today, there's obviously a major transformation going on in the marketplace today and changing really how businesses are operating. Owners are structuring their businesses, and as we look at some of the most recent closures in buyouts or selling with Sears and Macy's in particular, and some of the other major online retailers, we see a lot of businesses or companies closing their brick and mortars, moving more to click and mortar. And I think it just goes to show you that businesses today are restructuring for a way to become successful, structure their business to really operate and sell and accommodate to the new ever-changing customer demands in the marketplace. So I think what helps us today is just to get an understanding of those who actually have attended, to understand who's actually selling. So we'll start with our first poll question. Jason, if you can prompt the audience. I think we're just looking to get an understanding of who's actually selling products online today, whether this is to the general public, whether this is more selling your products and services out to a dealer distributor network, or we have maybe our salespeople or customer service in a web-based application where we're capturing orders on behalf of customers. Any type of online selling.
So that is up now. We're going to leave it up for maybe another 10 seconds here, and then we'll gather the results.
Excellent. Well, thanks, and I appreciate everybody's responses here on this particular aspect too. As we wait for just a moment here and kind of continue, I think it's important to note, Forrester notes that only 1 in 4 B2B organizations today are currently or actively selling online. Many of those with outdated, archaic, web-based interfaces where people are really just throwing in a SKU or a quantity or uploading items to an order form, though they estimate 80% of those organizations are currently looking to refresh, restructure, and move to that single stack e-commerce platform. So critical, I think, to understand where the market is going and what's going on. Do we have a good chunk of results? I am not on my side.
Okay, well, I can just tell you then it was pretty much 67% said they are currently selling products online, 33% said they're not. And one other note, Giuseppe, we are seeing a block, like a window popped up on your screen that's just showing up gray. Can you close that out? No, now we saw your slide go down. Okay, there's your slides again. But there's something sort of in front of them. It looks like maybe a WebEx prompt or something like that.
Okay, let me see if I can flush that out of the way for a second. Yeah, I'm not even seeing the WebEx on my screen, unfortunately, anymore.
Maybe maybe if we stopped your screen sharing and restarted it. Can you do that yourself? You want me to maybe just take control back? And
Yeah,
and,
if you could
sort of
take control
it?
back, that'd
Okay.
be excellent. Yeah, I apologize.
All right. All right, so I'm just going to do that. That should bring down your sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. All right.
All right, so I do see your screen starting to come back.
Good.
And I see the poll question slide. Yep, we're back.
Excellent. Okay. Well, so we appreciate the feedback, and I think not very shocking, though obviously for the audience attending, probably more people are actually interested in e-commerce, which is why we're all here, and probably that's why we see the number being up a little bit higher than we would traditionally see, as most companies today do have some type of, as I mentioned earlier, first-generation website or shopping cart that they have put up in the marketplace. And with that said, I think that kind of speaks about, businesses recognizing that there is an opportunity in the marketplace today. As we look at that opportunity in the retail sector in particular and kind of start talks here, obviously it all started on the retail side. Since its inception, e-commerce has grown year over year, and it's evident in the volume of retail sites that we see out in the marketplace today and the new websites that are always coming to the market. And I think the driver really behind this growth is around the fact that merchants today have the ability to quickly, easily get products out to the general public. And it doesn't matter where we really want to sell these products or services, we can now service really the globe through a website with not that much more effort as an organization looks to stand up a website when structured properly. We look at this past year, Amazon captured about $23 billion in revenue, which about 60% of that accounted from their online retail sales just in the U.S. alone. So I think it's critical to understand where that market is going on the retail side, and it's moving and continuing to move because I think customers demand, more and more websites have that Amazon type experience and make it convenient and easy for consumers to come online and buy wherever and whenever. And that has become more of a reality with the introduction of smartphones and tablets in particular. Consumers now are always connected and have the ability to buy and purchase whenever they want. And we see that in the statistics as well as we take a look at mobile phone sales, which has skyrocketed just this past year, about 95% to almost $40 billion. They estimate that it will jump to almost 80, just shy of 80 here by 2017, and will account for 50% of mobile commerce. Now, mobile commerce, keep in mind, is comprised of smartphones and tablets, but smartphones in particular for years weren't really used to actually purchase, just more so look. And nowadays it's becoming more of the trend to start buying and converting as well from those devices, as we see more companies coming to market with cleaner, richer, responsive environments that make that mobile or smartphone experience that much more appealing. And as we take a look at that, I think, we talked a little bit early on about some of the trends, and I think there are several barriers to a successful e-commerce project initially that a company looks at. And I think for years, customers or companies have really neglected the customer experience. right? They put out these websites that weren't mobile friendly, that weren't tablet friendly. They tried to build out and throw apps in the marketplace, which to a degree were accepted, but often very expensive for a company to keep up to date or offer a rich transition between my mobile site, my tablet, and then my desktop experience. So it really broke apart that experience and made it very challenging for users to work with your business or your brand. And as we look at e-commerce growing an ecosystem of technology overall with vendors and services, it's important to note that a digital store provides your customers with what they need, right? It's information, it's education, it's availability, it's order history. It's all information that's relevant as they're working with you as an organization that they need and they require. It's not something they want and it's nice to have. It's stuff that they require, which is why we also see the trend in personalization, right? It's when a client logs into a website, it's recognizing who they are, making them feel like you know exactly who they are, delivering them a unique price, unique marketing material, unique product catalogs, all very tailored to what they're doing. And we see that becoming a bigger part of organizations because as we said to move forward, relationships matter. We note here Forrester saying, or another consumer report here coming through noting that by 2020, customer experience will overtake price and product as the key brand differentiator. So to many of us organizations that are on the call today, to some of us who might not have a website today, I think this is kind of a key driver behind the fact that as an organization, can we afford to continue to have these shopping carts in place, right? These shopping carts that don't offer a rich customer service, don't personalize the experience of the customer who's logged in the portal, or offer them access to real-time data and availability, right? Nobody wants to come inside of a portal that looks great, but in the end, when I place an order for a particular product, it's on back order and I'm not made aware of that till a day after I've placed my order, right? That's where customer experience falls down, and that's where you can see as we head to the future, that's not something our businesses or organizations can do. And that's something that at Sana we've taken very seriously since day one. And as we take a look at one of our clients here, Label Master, one of their most critical components of the project and working with Sana was the fact that true integration with their ERP system was critical, right? They understand that it's business critical to know that when a client does come online, that the data that they're seeing in the portal is the same data that is inside of their ERP, right? That single SAC, that one single source of truth is what customers are looking for, what they demand today in the marketplace. And as an organization, we can't afford any less than to ensure that the data we're pushing back to our clients is always accurate and available to the customers, to ensure that their buying journey and their brand loyalty with us is always at an optimum level. And we see a lot of those trends, obviously, as more trends that were initially consumer trends that have now trickled down onto your B2B buyers in the marketplace, which I know many of us probably have a larger market for than just retail commerce as a whole. But the B2B industry is a massive, massive behemoth. You know, over 2x the opportunity when we take a look at and compare it side by side with retail commerce. Forrester notes that, you know, with a 10% market growth year over year out to 2020 here, it will account for about 1.13 trillion. And again, keeping in mind that only 1 in 4 B2B companies are selling online and it to be a $1.3 trillion industry, we see why companies like Amazon are now launching in, trying to take a piece of the pie in the B2B marketplace. And we take a look at the year-over-year sales here for the last 2 or 3 years here, out 2 or 3 years. We see that aggressive growth line continuing, consistent growth line continuing across the industry. And not only that, but again, putting it side by side, noting that businesses today are planning to invest in e-commerce, right? It's not just a couple businesses are looking to invest. 80% of them, they note, are planning to currently invest in e-commerce, whether it's reinvest or just get into the marketplace in some way, shape, or form. And as more business-to-business clients, organizations pull their customers in the marketplace, I think it's important to understand that more professional buyers are in the market than ever before, right? And these guys aren't novice users. Almost 70% of them have already purchased something online, right? At home, in their own realm, they're buying online from Amazon. They're coming to their job, their day-to-day work, which is being a professional buyer, working with you and your platform, your system that's talking to Microsoft Dynamics, and they're looking for that rich customer service experience just like they have when they're at home. So we see that consumerization trickling down, changing the demands, changing the experience of the buyers in the marketplace today. And I say that knowing that obviously this is a transformation that's occurring as we see more and more B2B companies implementing these applications, the customers demanding this functionality, and we see more businesses now as we look at second generation e-commerce systems coming into place for organizations that they don't make the mistake of letting functionality of a shopping cart drive the business decision, right, when they invest in e-commerce. They look at the ERP playing a critical role in the fact that, hey, you know, if my ERP can be a forefront, it will save me time, save me money, allow me to run leaner, and allow me to access all the big data and information that my accounting system has, and now take that data out to make my customer's experience more personalized, more rich, and accurate, which is what's critical as we move forward in the marketplace today. And I pointed out a few there, but I think it's important to understand as we take a look, and some of us on the call might be manufacturers, but you know, based on the industry that you're in and working with, there's always unique things that come into play, unique business logic, right, that is often managed and maintained on a daily basis in your ERP because it has to be, whether it's complex customer pricing, you know, spare parts, heavy volumes of inventory, service items that need to be sold, kitting, bill of material, quotes and orders needing to run through the system. There's various aspects of your organization or business where that logic has already been set up, configured, and maintained inside of your ERP. And what's critical is to get all that information and not necessarily have to custom build this logic back out inside of a shopping cart, which is what most businesses have done for years. But to look and invest in a solution that can repurpose all this data and information, which will allow your business and organization to move forward in a more agile form, right? Not being tied into that shopping cart, but allowing us as an organization to quickly update our ERP and quickly have our website follow suit. And we take a look at one of the next clients out here, Van Omen in particular. They look for obviously a system incoming to Sana that would work with one of their third-party systems, right? They had a big third-party in place inside of their ERP that tracked all their robust supporting product information, right? In this case, it wasn't just a nut and a bolt. It was a nut and a bolt with very specific data around that particular bolt and how it fit, how it was used, and what it was made out of. All information that wasn't necessarily tracked inside of their ERP, but logic was inside of their ERP, like pricing, like catalogs. Certain customers could buy certain products online. So we were able to take not only all the core ERP data, but also a third-party system that tracked all the product information and push them together, providing a nice, rich customer service experience online, while hand-in-hand pulling in information from yet another system to put supplemental data that was needed on the website for the customer to make a buying decision. So we see not only manufacturers having critical business data inside of the ERP, but also customers in the wholesale distribution marketplace, in which case quick order entry, repurposing and reusing maybe their own FedEx or UPS account number, having unique freight costs or unique catalogs needing to be shown to customers being a critical part of the business process, again, information that's already being managed inside of the ERP. Now, as we look at that, we jump over to another client who initially came to Sana looking to streamline their order processing, right? They were a big retail brand as well as a wholesale distributor, but it was too complex, right? They had a shopping cart, they were taking a nightly download, and it was delaying how quickly they were able to deliver their products or services back out to their customers. And oftentimes it resulted in, hey, you placed an order, it showed we had stock in our shopping cart, but by the time the 50 orders came in overnight, the next morning, well, the last 5 guys that placed their order didn't actually have product available for shipment and fulfillment, so we needed to call them back and let them know their order wasn't here. So what implementing an integrated single stack application allowed them to do was, number one, track what was here, but also to deliver and turn that order around in a faster time frame, because when everybody came in the office at 8 o'clock the next morning, it didn't take us their organization 3 hours to key in all those orders manually. right? Those orders were waiting in the system, ready to be picked and packed with a shipping slip sitting at the loading dock, so they could quickly get these orders and turn them around and fulfill them and have all of them on the truck by 3 o'clock to head out. And many times, as we look at our organization, how we're functioning, the process is different, right? The organizational structure is different, whether we're building a product ourselves, whether we're grabbing a product from a third party and drop shipping that particular item, whether we're going direct to a retailer or out to the consumer in the end. That distribution model is very different from all of us, but what's similar to all of us as organizations is that all of this is traditionally tracked inside of the ERP, okay? And with this data being in the ERP, we can then empower our website and ensure that our website has accurate and real-time data or information. So I'll open up the next poll, Jason, if you can throw it out there, which is how likely are you to start selling online within the next 12 months? So if we can provide some feedback there, that'd be excellent from you guys. And I guess this goes back a little bit earlier to some of the topics for, there's 60-some% of us that are actively selling online. So for those joining us today, how likely are the rest of us there looking to start actually aggressively selling online within the next 12 months? And I know for most organizations, an e-commerce implementation takes time, right? It's not the easiest thing to necessarily launch, even with a shopping cart or an integrated application. It takes thought process and understanding of what my product hierarchy will look like. Do I have all my supporting data and what I would call the romance copy to be ready to be put onto the website so it looks nice, on top of a design, that I have in mind. More critical traditionally in a retail site versus a distribution-based site or a wholesale site. And did we have some feedback there, Jason, you could share with the group?
Yeah, so the results are up now. Hopefully the folks in the audience see it. Sounds like you don't, Giuseppe, but we have 90% saying they're very likely to start, 29% somewhat likely, 10% not likely, and 43% saying already selling online.
Okay, excellent.
And I should note, we're seeing the same effect on your screen where a big chunk of it's being grayed out. I might just make sense to just flip off your desktop and then bring you back again, unless you think you can close that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yourself.
No, go ahead. Yep.
Okay, I'll just do that again. There must be some sort of glitch here.
Yep.
All right, so I will now give you back control and we can continue.
Good?
Yes, and you're back.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason. So I think as we talk about, some of the trends and where things have gone, why it's critical in the marketplace and what businesses are doing, I think it's important to understand and talk a little bit more about this single stack approach. Something nowadays you see very commonly used in a lot of marketing messages and even some of the core Microsoft messaging coming out, talking more about the digital transformation. Organizations right now, especially B2B organizations, 62% of them plan to restructure or upgrade their current platform to a single stack solution. So pretty powerful information here to look at as an organization, and I think, again, it gets everybody's heads turning to say, why have we been settling for doing business with a shopping cart and unintegrated application that we've customized heavily to work and really rebuild a lot of that core business logic? And in the end, are there systems out there that would allow us to scale and be more agile in terms of offering out that rich customer service experience and exposing ERP-based data? And I'll add one more segment here, a quote here from Andy Hoare, who's one of the principal analysts from Forrester. Mid-market companies today don't want the hassle of trying to integrate a whole bunch of different systems. And I think for years, in working in the space myself for 10 plus years, I've heard that far too many times from people. Yeah, I'm going to implement an ERP, or I've implemented, Dynamics, whatever version, and I'm going to keep my shopping cart with me and kind of move it and worry about the integration, later, right? I'll have my partner write an integration and send a transaction back over to ERP. Nowadays, it's more than just sending a transaction back to the ERP, as we've kind of seen from this presentation. It's ensuring that the data is there, we can personalize the experience online, and we can repurpose the big data that our ERP has to make sure that that customer has that rich customer service experience on the portal. So at Sana, what we've done to deliver that single stack approach for businesses and organizations is to ensure that it's a flexible web store. It offers both the ability to sell out to the general public. It can be stood up as just your existing corporate website, right, an educational environment. It can also be a closed portal, more B2B in nature, where we provide unique username and passwords out to organizations. And it also satisfies the need of internal order entry, right? We can obviously put people inside of our ERP to place an order or check the status of an order. But what's more dynamic and we find commonly used nowadays is the fact that we can now take those internal users and put them in a web-based application from their mobile phone, from their tablet, from their desktop. And that will allow them to, in turn, use a web-based application to place an order, check the status of an order, all from a website. We do that by providing an out-of-the-box application that already is working with Dynamics, in a matter of days, has deep, rich integration back to a lot of the most complex business logic in the ERP, right? So as we take a look at something like Dynamics AX, looking at trade agreement tables, we look at advanced pricing tables in NAV or GP, or some of the core pricing tables inside of Dynamics 365, all built into native Sana, right? Unit of measure being another critical one that most shopping carts never take into consideration, that require a lot of additional setup, all natively implemented and working out of the box. An organization following suit with a cloud-based application that can be put on-premise but can also be put out into the cloud, and Sana providing a dedicated Azure certified team that will deploy this application for you. So just a simple graphic that I think speaks volumes, and I'm going to show you two graphics right now. The first showing you what it looks like to have Sana embedded, looking at that core ERP-based business logic and data, overlaying a content management system, providing you hosting, right? A very simple connection, start to finish, which is very different from what probably most of us in the room today who are watching are running, which is, hey, yeah, we have an ERP in place. We have our shopping cart. We have a hosting partner potentially, or we're hosting it ourselves. We have a content management system, maybe WordPress that's sitting out there, and then we built some type of connection, or we have some partner that offers us an integration that'll write a transaction back to our ERP. All pieces that require you, number one, to maintain two systems. That inevitably results in either a synchronization breaking down and data not coming over, or some level of human error occurring, which also leaves us in an application that's difficult to upgrade and also doesn't allow us to take advantage of new ERP updates or Webstore updates, if that's even something that's offered to you guys. So slowing our business operations down is traditionally what this application will do, on top of costing us a lot of money when it comes to maintaining this on an ongoing basis. And most organizations that you talk to as well require some type of specialized IT staff or development staff to maintain these applications, which is very different from, again, taking an application or a mindset of, hey, as an organization, we recognize that there's a lot of complex business logic that we've invested in when we purchased our ERP. That business logic, as we look at some of them on the screen here, can be repurposed and pulled right out through an integrated application like Sana, which in turn allows us to have one of the biggest competitive advantages in the industry right now, which is allowing us to know who our customers are and treat them differently, right? We can take a look quickly at what's going on inside of our ERP, our order history, our document history. We can predict orders. We can deliver out rich marketing content or information out to them by using ERP-based data to power the website, which also in the end not only allows us to treat our customers better, but also empower our internal pieces of our organization. Yes, a lot of us invest in an ERP, and as we know, there's a cost to put each user and organization inside of the ERP. Well, I think what's critical about that is we look at this stat is 42% of customer service reps are unable to efficiently resolve customer service issues due to the fact that they're left in disconnected systems or archaic systems or multiple applications, right? Multiple silos. So we put in something like Microsoft Dynamics but then the rep doesn't know how much availability is there when the order is going to be delivered because we've hit our seat count, we've hit our seat limit. Well, with a web-based application, we don't have a seat count, we don't have a seat limit, and we can get into the website, look up a client's account or his order history right from a portal, from our phone if we want on the fly, and ensure that we're always giving him accurate real-time information, right? We can check stock, we can check price, all right from the portal, which, as we talk about many organizations as they strive to get to this omni-channel type experience, a website can oftentimes deliver that cross-channel strategy to your organization where, yeah, we might have a physical store location that's looking at pricing or product information out of Dynamics. We have customers who are emailing in who we can have customer service servicing. We can come online, we can come onto our phone, or we can even have people calling in maybe through an online chat function to service our customers, all via a website or an application that, again, is looking at ERP-based data. At Sana, we also built out an app that was built out initially to allow salespeople or customer service to go offline. And as they go offline, they can create orders, quotes, initiate returns, access real-time pricing or availability, all from a web-based application. And this application would then synchronize back up to the ERP as I was brought back on-premise and had accurate real-time information readily available back to the system. So often commonly used at trade shows or just when people couldn't get access to content. We could cache up that information and allow them to take it offline in an app. But what I wanted to do for everybody in the audience today was just quickly walk through and actually show the application, right? To take us through a look and a feel, a day in the life of what that application would look like. So I'm going to change up my environment very quickly. And Jason, if you can switch over presenter one more time to me, I need to change my screen here.
Well, you appear to still have, oh, you think it froze up on you?
I have a website up on my screen right now that should be showing.
Oh, we're not seeing that. So if you look in the little control panel hanging down from the top center of your screen, you might be able to change monitors.
Yeah, it's not there on this.
Or if it seems hung up, I can.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay. Let's try that one more time then. All right. So I'm handing you back control now.
All right, and you should see my screen and what I actually have up for us today on the screen for everybody. Some of us may have seen this. I could have really pulled up any of the ERPs today. I pulled up Dynamics 365, but really what I'm showing you is back-end ERP, and this really works the same with Sana across AX, GP, NAV, or Dynamics 365. What we see is obviously the ability to create new items. Inside of the ERP, we load product attributes, product variants. Inside of the ERP, we load our images inside of the ERP, and in each of the ERPs, Sana has a little additional window here that allows us to make that item visible in the Webstore. Okay, so this gives us control and access over what item will actually be shown online. From there, we can also set up our customers. We can assign them price levels and terms inside of the ERP, in which case I've come out here right now and set up a client. And this client also is, again, set up on the appropriate price level with the appropriate build to and ship to information. So I'm just showing us a little bit of the back office. And what I've done today for presentation purposes is I'm actually coming out here and I'm going to take a look at a website. This website is actually hooked back to a live instance right now of Dynamics 365. We can see the products and pricing and availability all being pulled out of Dynamics 365. This information and content can be specific to the customer. In this case, I've already logged into the website, so it recognizes exactly who I am and has shown me the appropriate price level. It's going to show me accurate pricing. It'll allow me to build my shopping cart, show me all the product-specific attributes or variants associated with these items, and allow me to actually place an order. And what I'm going to go through today is how quickly these transactions flow back through into all of the dynamic systems. This isn't, hey, we're going to let this order sit in the database and be queued up and sent back over once a day or 5 times a day or every hour. These orders use core web services from Microsoft to push the order over that second. Everything that occurs in Sana is up to the second. So as we proceed through the checkout process, you can see here we streamline the order process by pulling the build to and ship to information right out of the Dynamics database. We can capture new addresses, which will be written back to Dynamics. We can capture the appropriate freight costs or delivery options here for this particular order, which can also be configured. We can allow them to pay, throw this order on account, or pay via credit card. We can capture relevant shipping details as well, and potentially requested delivery dates. All information which goes back into core Microsoft Dynamics tables. Now what I'm showing you today is, again, a core Sana implementation, obviously that can be customized, but is native to the application here at Sana. And as I process this order here, I'm going to actually pull up the order number, and I'm going to jump back over to Dynamics 365 in this particular instance to show you how quickly these transactions are processed through the system. Now, in this scenario, the customer received a copy of this order confirmation. We can see our order of 1013 for Jim and the 3 items that were actually ordered here for a total of $1,045.28. And as I come back over into Core Dynamics 365, I'm going to come over to my orders currently sitting in the system, and I'm going to quickly jump down to my last one, which is 1013 for $1045.28, and we see the order ready for fulfillment. So quickly opening that sales order, we can see all the relevant information, including the purchase order number that was gathered, the delivery instructions, the requested delivery date, and the 3 items that were ordered. So the real-time nature not only allows us to take this transaction back, but simplifies the setup, launch, and ongoing maintenance of a website. I don't have to come out to a website to add new products, add new SKUs on the fly. Those products and SKUs already exist because they were created inside of the ERP and quickly checkmarked to ensure that they showed up on the website and were available for purchase. Now, Sana obviously provides a full-blown content management system to set up all the other static pages on the website to load all the fluffy content and information that we're seeing on this particular page here. And not only does it allow us to sell through existing customers, but the general public can also come out here, make a purchase, and create an account on the fly at checkout, which will be created back in Dynamics while the order is being processed. So all critical pieces here at Sana that we're delivering out to all customers here in that buying process. So I'm just going to quickly kind of wrap up here. And in summary, I think it's important to understand that, the market is changing. And as an organization, I think we're at a critical point where as we move from first generation to second generation e-commerce, it's important to understand that we can make a move from being a good company to a great company, putting ourselves in a position where we can structure ourselves for success and deliver out happier clients, smarter sales, and better partnerships across our organization to all of these companies and really build a stronger brand recognition as an organization. So please keep in mind how things are changing in the marketplace today, some of the trends that we've discussed today that are critical to our organization and how we're going to structure for success as an organization, and why single stack is really a critical approach for our business as the industry and economy progresses. So at Sana, we wanted to thank you for your participation and interest in this presentation today. And if there's any additional questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us. I wanted to invite everybody to also participate in a giveaway that we'll be doing here as well that's coming up on my next screen. So if you just wait just one more second here, you can follow this URL and throw it in. It's as simple as logging onto this demo environment, very similar to what I showed you today, and finding the red Apple Watch. Just add it to the shopping cart and complete the form at that point, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win a new Apple Watch. Jason, I'll hand it back over to you. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thanks, Giuseppe. And we are going to now turn to Q&A. So if you have any questions that you haven't yet entered into the Q&A block, please do that now. We have a couple lined up, I see, and we'll get to as many as we have time for here. Okay, so just going back to the first one. So someone asks, what differentiates Sana from other e-commerce providers?
Well, I think the critical piece to what differentiates Sana from every other e-commerce platform out there is like I said, it's integration, right? People say they integrate all the time, but what they're doing is they're selling or they're delivering a synchronization, right? It's taking data from the ERP and synchronizing data from the ERP out to a shopping cart database. Okay? That means that your information is never real time and it's never up to date. I would also note when I went into the screen we talked about business logic. You inevitably pay for some light integration from an organization, whether they're writing over sales orders, writing over orders, synchronizing pricing, synchronizing availability. Businesses sometimes get into a business process where, hey, you know, my core goal is to have a website and have the orders go back into my ERP. But again, as we look at what I showed you guys earlier today and some of the notes from Forrester, it's not just about writing a transaction over and helping my back office process, right? That obviously is a short-term fix and a patch, right? What's more critical and important is the fact that we need to find a way as an organization to ensure that we're getting data, content, and information that is accurate out to our customers. And that's something that shopping carts cannot do for your organization. They don't do for your organization. And what they also deliver out to you is a boatload of cost and money when it comes to upgrades, right? Most applications you're going to put in place are going to cost you a lot to upgrade or manage or maintain, and often mean that you're not getting new website code. So I think at Sana, that's probably our biggest competitive advantage to any other shopping cart in the industry or even any other corporation out there that's synchronizing data or information, is we're not proposing synchronizing data. We're using core business logic, using core Microsoft tools to ensure that your ERP evolves, your website evolves, and your customers get the best possible, most accurate data available to your organization, which is data that comes right out of your ERP up to the second.
Okay, the next question we have, what kind of payment service providers are supported by Sana?
Sana supports over 39 different payment service providers. So as an organization, we work with payment gateways, banks, processors, merchant accounts to streamline the payment process. Typically a best business practice that we would recommend is finding a payment gateway that is secure, in which case we would embed an iframe inside of Sana, capture that credit card information off on a PCI server from one of these payment gateways, in which case we would then take that processed payment, whether it was an authorization or a sale transaction, and write the payment back into the ERP along with the transaction ID. So at which point in time we needed to issue a credit or a refund, we could do that inside of the ERP and had that transaction ID. Otherwise, we would completely streamline the payment process using your payment gateway and processor and bank.
Okay. We have someone asking about discussing partnerships in a particular region. Is that something they should follow up with you on directly, Giuseppe?
Yeah, I would say please follow up with me directly.
Okay,
and we're also happy to help with that.
Yeah, and we can also pass along the name of and the contact of the person. All right, just moving on to a couple other questions here. So in terms of integration, is Sana leveraging real-time interfaces provided by the ERP, or is it sharing the same database?
It's sharing the same database for, our pricing database is the ERP, right? So if you're talking Dynamics AX, we're using trade agreement tables to populate that information right directly onto the website. We don't have our own pricing tables, right? Our availability would be the same. We're using core ERP table structure for that. So that information is coming out through the core web service from Microsoft, and we're looking at that data and putting it right onto the website. Now, the only instance where our data is cached or saved is if the ERP was to go down. We do run into a caching mode where we take all that information, we throw it into a cache, and we then push that data up to the internet.
Okay, can you, well, this question is a little broader. Can you tell us something about replenishment as it relates to Sana Commerce?
Any replenishment occurring inside of Sana would be, again, triggered from the ERP. So it's not something that would be occurring inside of the website itself. Any inventory replenishment or data that we might want to show out to the website would be data that would need to reside inside of the ERP. And from there, we would show.
Okay. Does Sana also manage tracking and notification of placed orders? For example, items that need to be shipped in 3 days or that are ready to be delivered, email confirmations, etc.
Sana places a core order confirmation when the order is placed, traditionally out to the client and potentially somebody back office. From there, typically business alerts inside of the ERP are used to actually trigger and send out notifications to customers for many other core notifications. I would note sometimes third-party email marketing tools are also used by our clients to send out notifications for back orders or other items what were out of stock now coming back in stock. So really just us handling the core e-commerce components versus some of the marketing or notification aspects. Though if we needed to do something more extensive, we'd be happy to do so.
All right, great. I'm just looking here to see if we have anything else. I believe we are at the end of our question queue. I'll just make a final call here while we start to wrap up. I want to remind folks we are recording today's event. We'll be making that available to all of you in the next couple of days here. And you have Giuseppe's contact information. So I think at this point we will begin wrapping up. Well, thanks to everyone in the audience for your questions. And Giuseppe, thanks for taking the time to present to us today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it as well. So thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody who attended.
All right, and with that, we will begin wrapping up. Thanks once again. Have a great day, everybody, and I hope to see you again online soon.